And we are live for 5-Minute Friday on November the 25th. Welcome, everybody, and a special welcome to my guest, Andy Wiebe, CEO and founder of Terragen. Andy, it's so nice to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be on. Good to see you again.
Fantastic. So I thought it might just be a good opportunity for us to talk about Terragen a little bit. I was raised and come from a rural background. I know the same is for you. And I find the platform that you're building with Terragen to be really quite intriguing, and maybe a great way to start off is for you to explain to us what is Terragen and what issue currently exists in the marketplace that caused you to, really bring this company to life.
So basically, we are maybe this dumbs it down a little bit too much, but we're a glorified e-commerce website. But what we offer is fractional farmland investment opportunities. And so right now, there's no way of, if you want to invest in the farmland asset space, then you either need a lot of collateral, or you need a very, very deep pockets. And so with the advent of some newer technology that allows us to kind of be a little creative with with how people invest their money or use their money, we can kind of bridge the gap between farmland owners who may be looking to transition out of day-to-day farming, or maybe appreciate some of the value that they built up or equity they built up in their farm operations, and connecting those people with everyday retail Canadian investors who want access to a safe and stable investment opportunity.
No, thank you. That's a fantastic way of putting it. Maybe switching gears a little bit to talking about you, Andy. Have you always been interested in entrepreneurship? Have you kind of always had that desire to build something that is your own, or how far back does this interest in entrepreneurship go for you?
Yeah, so I guess it might be a bit of a lifetime thing. Like I probably got some of it from my parents. From as young as I can remember, my mom was starting businesses, and she was a Tupperware dealer for years and years, and then she's done all sorts of things. She started a home-based retail business, and she ran a women's gym for a while. So she's kind of like, for basically my whole life, my mom has been entrepreneurial, and dad has always worked like a very dirty, hard labor, blue collar job for years and years to keep the lights on, keep the family fed and stuff. So I guess, some of it came from my parents, but I have been involved in startups before. I was part of 2 restaurant startups that are still functioning today. Though I'm not a part of them anymore. I was part of a coffee roaster, that business that started up in the province as well, but I've also kind of stepped out of that one. So yeah, I've been kind of dabbling in business startup and entrepreneurship for the better part of the last 10-15 years.
No, I totally get that. I grew up with a dad who I would categorize as a serial entrepreneur as well, and is still running 1 or 2 successful companies of his own to this day. So I always joke with my dad, or he jokes with me, that any success I have is off the back of the mistakes I got to watch him make when I was growing up. So I can really identify with having a parent in your back pocket that sort of paved the way for you to be able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you think back, you mentioned there's been a couple businesses outside of Terragen that you've been a part of and started. Over your entrepreneurial journey as a whole, what would you say are 2 or 3 of the most important lessons that you've learned along the way?
I think one of them for sure is don't let someone else dictate the pace of your growth. I don't know, I've gotten a couple of kicks from the same horse trying to grow at somebody else's speed, and it becomes so painful. Learned a lot of expensive lessons that way. So that'd be one of them for sure. And the other one would just be to keep the wheels rolling, like always have some sort of forward progress. You may not be making leaps and bounds every day, but you got to do something, even if it's it could be as simple as just reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn or whatever, just creating a new contact, but doing something like every day that is kind of pushing the needle forward or moving the wheels a little bit. That's you got it, just to avoid stagnation.
No, 100%. I think one of the things that has the horse that I've been kicked by, but over and over again during my journey, is not being afraid to reach out and ask for help. Like really understanding where my weaknesses are and bringing in people to shore me up to ensure the greatest success possible, right? Because as you're building your company and it grows, it becomes less and less about me or about you and about this thing, this entity that you're building. So really appreciate, those are wise words for people to take into consideration if they're planning on going down a journey like this.
Yeah. I heard someone tell me one time that you don't learn anything from the second kick from a horse.
Well, I don't know about you, I actually grew up with horses and I can concur. This is true. What do you feel at this point in your journey? You've come quite a long ways with Terragen by now, but what do you feel you need most from your community at this point? What are sort of 2 to 3 things that would really help your business to continue that growth that you talked about earlier and just keep that headed in the right direction? What do you need?
Yeah. Well, aside from maybe the really obvious one of you always need more money.
Yeah.
That's unspoken. I think having that support network of people who are around you who are kind of cheering you on, and I mean, starting something, especially with something that's really innovative and maybe that no one's done before, like as far as I can tell, is something that we're building. There's who do you talk to who's kind of been there before and has done it, and what lessons can you learn from somebody who's done it before when no one else has actually kind of been in the space. But so it gets like starting a new anything, it can be very, very lonely. So
Yes.
I know that the people around you, they want the best for you, and they, in their cautious ways, they try to, really, I guess cautiously cheer you on, but no one's really standing in your corner and saying, hey, like this, like, let's do this thing. Like, what do you need next? Let's do this together. Let's work on this. Right. So having that support network and access to people smarter than me is, I guess that's probably like the number one thing.
No, I 100% get that. I think that support is everything, and it is something that I hear over and over again from the community of founders that I'm lucky enough to be a part of. I think that support and then tangible resources really helps at the end of the day for these companies that are really trying to grow some legs. And so that makes perfect sense. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
How do we find your website? Where are you located? How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn and on Twitter. You can get a hold of me there, Terragen Token. I got a website, terragentoken.io. You can reach out there. I'm pretty accessible. There's email contact, or I think my phone number's on the website too, probably. So if you want to reach out, I'd love to have a chat with anybody who's going through this entrepreneurial journey as well. And let's just connect.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Have a fantastic weekend. It's great to have
thanks for having me on. Thanks.
Absolutely.